everybody, welcome back to Cocktails and Rocktails with me, your most notorious groupie, Alice Rouse, author of We've Got Tonight, The Life and... You guys know these other books right here as well, where you can get that, my merchandise, everything down in that description. So go down and fiddle about, guys. And thank you as always to everybody who's a part of this channel, whether you're a member, subscriber, a lurker, everybody, thank you so much for who's coming on, who's really helping me expand the channel, especially Desiree. You guys, I can never tell you how much I appreciate you all. Thank you so, so much. And speaking of having so much fun, you guys, we're going to have some more readings. We're going back to 1988, because like I said, there were so many bands in 1988. I'm surprised I could walk by 89. Just saying is all. Such a fun year. Yeah, there were a lot of big heavy hitter bands. And speaking of heavy hitters, we are going to start in September with the Scorpions. The Scorpions, because you know what? The Scorpions fans are all the coolest, most inclusive, amazing, amazing fans. So thank you guys for always just being awesome. Really, really accepting me as part of your community and inviting me in. I just can't even tell you what a pleasure it is to know you guys. And speaking of more pleasure, I'm just having myself a margarita on the rocks because it's a hot summer day. It just sounds good. It's middle of the day. Perfect day drinking. So everybody grab your rocks, kick up your feet. Let's have a little cocktails and rocktails. Cheers, big ears. Oh, so good. All right, and let's find out what else was good. Okay, so you guys, this is 1988 September, because like I said, I have a lot of stories, and you know, not all of them even made the book, so there's more to come, and this is just my side of the story. So this is right after my 18th birthday, and Cammie and all of us had spent it with the guys in Overkill, had a good little time. So, and Cammie had, you know, she was kind of a bit of a problem, but I was still trying to stay friends with her, so we had gone down to the Scorpions. So, so barely on the sidewalk, we were just in time for the band's, because they were not in town the night before. So we'd gone up to do the rounds the night before. Why did I not cover this? But they were not in town the night before, but they were staying for a couple days afterwards. Perfect. As long as they're in our town for a few days, we're happy girls. So barely on the sidewalk, this is behind the Salt Palace where all the buses parked and the, you know, gear went in and stuff, the backstage loading dock area. So this is where we're starting to set the scene. Ooh. Meditate on it. Become the part. No, I'm kidding. All right. So barely on the sidewalk, we were just in time for the band's limos to crawl past the gaggle of waiting women, which we were a part of. Once again, the tour manager was sent down to me and asked me how many I had with me. 2. So it was my friend Christina and Cammie, who is double cam in the book. He slapped some guest passes on Cammie, Christina, and I, and led us to Klaus Meine and Rudolf Schenker. We made our introductions and headed to the band's dressing room. There were TV cameras lurking down the hallway by the doors we were headed for. The tour manager told us the band was filming for German MTV, and they wanted us to hang on the guys when cameras were rolling. Every time the band said Salt Lake City, the only word we could understand, because they were speaking in German, we were to raise our cups of booze and say, Salt Lake, woo! 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 We did our part so good. And I've tried to look for this video, you guys, on YouTube. I have not found it anywhere, literally nowhere. Because they were filming for MTV Germany. They were just filming clips like from Out on the Road and stuff, or Headbangers Ball. So that's what we were doing. We were to flip our hair, push our tits deeper into our designated member's body. So that was our instructions. So be sexy, hang off the rock star, push our boobs, and say, woo, woo. Not a hard thing to do. But to do it right is not easy. Not everybody looks good. Woo. Anyway, so okay, no problem. Be on international television as arm candy for the Scorps? Hell yeah. What else more can a groupie ask for? So much more, ladies. You know I'm just teasing, right? We all entered the dressing room in true rock star fashion. Me draped on Klaus, the tour manager waiting with pre-made drinks and handing them out as we flowed in one by one. Kisses on the cheek from the grateful groupies. The band, having to get ready after a quick sound check, had Cammie, Christina, and I taken to catering to wait for the walk we were going to do with them to the stage. It's always an exciting walk, you guys. Get with the rock stars and cruising onto that stage. Fuck yeah. Feel that energy right before, you guys know it is when the lights come down. You can feel the band walking from the back of that stage. When that, coming up to that stage, you can feel the energy shifting. It's the same thing backstage, but we're part of what's making that energy shift. And it's so amazing and magical, you guys. It's just insane. Okay. Klaus reappeared first and came to my side, making sure I had everything that I wanted. Oh yeah, I liked him, oddly enough, pleasantly to my surprise. Ooh, excuse me. I hadn't really thought about being with anyone in the Scorpions, but there was just something casually cool about Klaus, and he wasn't bothered that I was taller than him in my heels. What? How could he be? I looked good enough to accompany him to the stage while the cameras rolled. Woohooing! All the way in his arms with my vodka in the air. Every 30 seconds, woo! That's the theme every time. Every time I say woo, take a drink. I was going to say it. All right, anyway. So I was wooing my way in his arms with vodka in the air every 30 seconds or so. We were seated on the stage cases and danced the night away while the cameras rolled. After the show, the tour manager said the band had plans to go hang out at a family fun center to race their mini stock cars and would like Cammie, Christine, and I to accompany them. So you guys know where they have like the putt-putt, they've got video games, they've got indoor bowling alleys, but they have like the little mini race cars, they had the bumper cars and stuff. So this was the kind of place we were going to with the Scorpions afterwards. See, it's not always boring on the, it's not just the hotel bar. Most of the time it is. You go out to dinner, hotel bar, get on the plane, hang out. You do some sightseeing if they have days off, go up to Park City, downtown Denver, breweries, whatever. Depending on where you are. In New York City, you go to Times Square, maybe when the Statue of Liberty reopened. But with the Scorpions, you go to the fun centers, which was awesome. I had seen a roadie I knew that would take care of us while the band showered and did a quick meet and creep. We waited in the back parking lot next to the limos and smoked a joint while some local gopher loaded the trunk with a few cases of champagne. A few. Looked like it was going to be an extra fun groupie evening, I thought to myself. It was about to be. And just as I thought that, the real night began. I say the real night because the concert is where the groupie has to share her rocker with 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 other people. He may have his eyes on her, but he has his mind in the crowd while he is on that stage. But after the show, that belongs to the family, to the groupies, rockers and roadies. It is our time to wind down and just be the people we are off the stage and on our road life. And tonight, we were going to mix champagne and driving fast little cars, we would crash into each other. Great idea! Woo! We need a drink for that one. Get over here, straw. Trust me, I have better aim when there's some beer going in my mouth. Yeah, I said it. Anyway. I had thought there would be other girls climbing into the limos with us, but no. It was the band, the tour manager, and us 3 girls. That was it. This was our own personal night, and none of the other girls had made the cut to join the after party. They had been left for the opening band of the crew. Don't take that wrong, you guys. We weren't better than anybody else. We just happened to be the ones. Nobody else, found the chemistry they were looking for that night, except for Klaus and Rudolph. Cammy just happened to be along for the ride as usual. Okay. I climbed in with Klaus and Christina with Rudolph, while Cammy rode in the other car, because there was actually 2 limos. She was having fun, and all but the 4 of us had paired off. And the nature of this was to hang out together. We do that on the road, form little couple cliques, and tonight, this was ours with the Scorp. Me and Klaus and Christina and Rudolph. We all arrived in our black coaches and piled out with a bottle of Dom already cracked and ready to go. With all the cases of champs loaded out and onto the edge of the racetrack, we gathered for some pretty much ignored instructions and waivers from we weren't paying attention, when they have you sign they tell you the instructions. We're like, how do we drive the car? Okay, we got it. That's all we need to know. Thanks. Bye. We were listening to none of that. We just signed the waivers. We're like, what the fuck ever. Tour insurance will pay for it. Maybe. I wonder if that... Not since the Metallica wreck, anyway. So, yeah. Waivers from the employees the band had paid to keep after hours. With the cameras gone, I think, we all strapped into one car or another and raced on 2 different tracks. Klaus kicked my ass at the mini drag race after I set Matthias's car on fire after hitting him from behind on a hairpin curve. It was a fucking blast, and I was basking in Klaus's attention and so ready to go be alone with him when the night wrapped up. The limos rounded us up and took us back to the long stretch of highway downtown. After dropping Cammy off at her car for the long ride home alone, the rest of us were ferried over to the Marriott. Klaus and I stepped out and went straight to the room where he showed me how to speak German with his tongue and not on my mouth. You get it. All right. He was a blast, and that night was one of the top 10 most fun evenings of my rock and roll life. But it wouldn't be the last with them or any other band. There were still a few months left in this year alone. I had other bands to make some good memories with. Do you want to hear more? You want to hear what those memories are? Because I could stop. You do? I was just going to stop at the Scorpions, but we can keep going because December's next, and December looks a little busy. All right, we'll go to December. So this is December of 1988, and I was just 18. The rock and roll year had dragged on, but definitely not slowed down. October was especially busy, but too monotonous to write much about it here. Cammy, yet another girl, Lisa, and I had met up with Slayer, who were opening up for Judas Priest. We spent an alcohol-soaked night with the Thrashers that produced more than one Lisa and specific Slayer boy ever bark. Oh, that produced more than Lisa and specific Slayer boy ever bark. Sorry, you guys. I'm getting tongue-tied. Okay, where was I? So basically, Lisa hooked up with somebody from Slayer. 9 months later. I've talked about this. Anyway, so after arriving to the gig the next day, I would turn a corner and land face to face with my future in the form of Glenn Tipton. And somehow I knew then he would be nothing but trouble to come. But as I say too much in the book, some people say, I get ahead of myself. Suicidal Tendencies had played our punk rock fave, The Speedway, to which Danny and I arrived in spectacular fashion with another friend, in the back of a police car because we had been hitchhiking. I talked about this. Our car had broken down, so we decided to hitchhike from our very first grown-up apartment. The policeman had been the first to pull over and see what we were determined to do, so decided to make sure we arrived to the band safely. The band made sure we did as well, accosting us the second we got out of that squad car. Mike Clark gave me a night to remember and his original Suicidal Tendencies hat. He later called my house, still living with my mom, mind you. She bitched him out for calling after 10 p.m. She did that. Not to mention, I was hanging out with another band, and she told him I was. Mom, call. She said to call back tomorrow. He never did call back after that. Mom was never one to mince words or hesitate to get rid of some of the men that called for her groupie daughter. Yeah, she threw away all my G-strings too, but that didn't do me any favors. She thought I would go back to wearing normal panties. I just quit wearing them altogether. Woo! So, yeah, that didn't work either, Mom. Def Leppard made another appearance with L.A. Guns. It was the last time Boucher was seen after leaving bass player Kelly Nichols' bed for a Def Leppard roadie she had known before. She had been with both of them at some time or another, but now they were on the same tour. That happens, you guys. Don't do what Boucher did. Don't double dip. Pick one or the other, or neither. Because if you're going to be a groupie for a long time, oh yeah. This is going to happen. All right. This was a normal dilemma. This was a normal dilemma groupies could easily run into now and then. Festival tours make this even more possible, but usually the rule of thumb is to stay with the rocker and not the roadie. Never juggle at one show. Boucher didn't follow that advice this evening and was busted at Def Leppard's hotel, the Marriott, by Kelly as he followed Sav, Richie, Kristen, and I back from his hotel. Last I saw of her for a couple of years, she was standing on the backstage sidewalk wearing some Harley shirt with a pig on it because Kelly loved the show Alf. How that had anything to do with Alf, I don't know. November had brought Robert Plant to town and produced a rather fun snowmobiling adventure, followed by an embarrassing car ride to Snowbird with the guys. Remember what I was saying about Cammie and her car full of McDonald's trash bags, that it occupied it like a Grateful Dead show? This was the moment that stuck in a roadie's head after 20 years. I was mortified and still am. Because 20 years later, that roadie remembers that car ride with a back seat full of half-eaten McDonald's bags. Oh my God, it was horrible. But the big news of the later half of 1988 was our boys. And by ours, I mean Danny and I's. They were back for a few days. Metallica was making their way back to Salt Lake City. My heart jumped into my throat. We were in the middle of forming a bond with that tour that no one else... we were in the middle of forming a bond with that tour that no one else in Salt Lake City could ever match. They were ours in Salt Lake, Danny's and mine. She came out especially for the occasion, as they were not to be missed. The band rolled into town the day before, so Danny and I were there waiting at the hotel bar as they filtered in. Ian, their tour manager, whom I had known from several tours along the way, Def Leppard included, Def Leppard definitely included, was the first to come into the Marriott lobby bar and see us waiting with bells on our toes. He sat with us immediately and got us set up to our knees in drinks. Dougal, Laz, two roadies and Lars's tech, and Lars Ulrich followed in soon after along with Jason, the band's new recruit and hazing victim extraordinaire. We would secretly charge all of our drinks to his room that night, and it was no light drinking that evening. As the party settled around us, I began to wonder where the rest of the family was. And by family, I mean James. I was impatiently waiting and hoping to see him tonight, and soon. Ian could see me getting restless and reassured me that the golden boy would be in sooner or later. Of course he would. Just about everyone from the tour was now down at the bar. There was nowhere else to go. And just as I was about to get up and go to the bathroom, the door swung open and revealed a blonde halo of light coming from behind a long-legged, tall figure. The angel sang as he stretched his legs across the room into my booth and onto my lap. Yay! James is here! He was never one scared of making an entrance. We all see him go on stage. Oh, was he ever here? Hey, I was just eating at Allie's, James began, referring to the similarity between the hotel's restaurant and my name. They had ribs all you can eat. I raised my eyebrows, looked up at him from the nook inside his arm that instinctively had been thrown around me, knowing there was only one answer he was looking for. I have plenty of that. Eat all you want, and it tastes sweeter than any rib, any day. James was too easy. I had shot a fish in a barrel in less than 5 minutes. I think this was my all-time personal record. Because, like I said, ladies, it was always my band game. They were my prey. I was not theirs. That's what I mean by owning your experience. It was all mine. They were my lovers. I kept them in a string. So James was one of them, although we all do know that there was more to, the feelings that I had with James, that was something completely different. So, and it was different for me at the time as well, because I had never cared more about the rock star than just maintaining my lover. You know what I mean? So that was kind of new to me. And this was all kind of in the middle of that. So, yeah. I think this was and once again, this is how it would stay all night long. James and I into our own little world, even as we moved the party from the early closing bar to one of the extra rooms that the band kept during that tour. Lars and Danny and I decided to go raid a couple of the buses just outside the side doors so we would meet the others up there soon. James headed up as I ran off with an ill-gained beverage cart that cost 1 boob flash to a night clerk. What can I say? We needed it for the amount of booze we were deciding to consume. From the tour bus, we just went and raided all the tour buses. The lot of us made our way up to the just-in-case room with our newly garnered haul, proudly peacocking into the room where we had left off earlier. Only, unbeknownst to me, behind me, as I helped drag the golden booze cart the booze into the room, was the band's wardrobe girl sitting at James's feet, gazing up adoringly and seemingly at home. Her name was Allie. Not in my town, sister. He wasn't supposed to let other girls into our party tonight. He was supposed to keep them out. I didn't like what I saw here at all. I put a hand on my hip and cocked my eyebrow enough to cause the men who knew me in the room to crane their heads toward the lead singer to see what he would do. James, seeing the arch of my eyebrow from behind my bangs, immediately got up, knocking the wardrobe girl to the ground. The look on her face, stunned and confused, but completely aware and focused on the man she obviously wanted or had had before. He was walking away and into the attentions of another younger specimen. Not just any specimen, but one he had chosen before, and she knew it. That is a very dangerous woman to any other playing the band game. She was no match and defeated before I even entered the room. James wanted what he had not had more than what he could or already did. Because James had already had me, but he was on tour with the wardrobe girl. She was Thursday. I was Friday and Saturday rolled into one with a hangover on Sunday. So there we go. This is actually, wow, I forgot about this night. You guys want to hear the rest? Buy the book. December 1988. I left the page numbers out of the book because I forgot to do it when I was editing. But then, I thought it's kind of appropriate because in rock and roll, you never know where you are. Except the year. So yeah, there you guys go. There is September to December of 1988. Not done yet, as you can tell. So between there, we had the Scorpions, Suicidal Tendencies, some more Def Leppard, Metallica. That's a lot. That's like every few weeks there's a new band. Plus there were other bands at the Speedway and stuff, so that I haven't even touched on. And I haven't touched on the night we met Testament either, you guys. It's going to be a good one. But all right, guys, Thank you so much. I hope you guys had a good time. Like I said, you want to know what happened the rest of that night with Metallica? It's in the book. And if you do read the book for free, read it from first page to last. Don't just read what you want, because otherwise I don't get paid. So just support me a little, even if it's for free. All right, guys. Thank you so much to everybody who made it to the end of the video. Thank you so much for listening to me. Sorry, my allergies. I'm going into the doctor next week to go get things checked out, so I'm not going to be so stuffy anymore. I hope we can figure this all out. But thank you so much for everybody to getting to the end of the video, for hanging out with me, for joining. Everybody who's just lurking, don't be afraid. Go down. Touch the little button. See what happens. If you touch it enough. Anyway, all right. Thank you guys so much. Subscribe, share, hit my bells, and we'll see you next time on Cocktails and Rocktails. Cheers, big ears.